For many, the annual celebration of Halloween is an exciting time. Parties, trick-or-treaters, decorations, and all manner of spooky goings-on, generally in the name of fun. Chelsea Bruck was no exception. She was a 22-year-old waitress who lived in French Township, Michigan, and was planning to go to a huge annual party, and she had a fancy dress outfit ready to go. But on an evening meant to be filled with jovial mischief and mayhem, she vanished without a trace. What followed was a 6-year saga to find the truth and to find justice. And if you're like me and you're a fan of great interrogations, make sure you keep watching to see how the police managed to bring this arsehole to confess. This is Murder of Crows.
Say that you're ready, but you won't like it. You say that you're ready, but you won't like it. Silence all the crows, lining up in little rows. A sudden chill surrounds me. Silence all the crows, see come out and say you're old. A sudden chill.
So we're in Michigan this week, and the area of Frenchtown Charter Township, to be exact, more often shortened to French Township. It's an area of nearly 50 square miles, or 190 square kilometers, with around 20,000 residents in Monroe County. It was here that Chelsea Ellen Bruck lived. She was 22 years old and was a waitress at a restaurant called Olga's Kitchen. She was the youngest of 5 children. She had 3 sisters and 1 brother. She was hoping to go to study for a culinary degree at Monroe Community College. But that dream was for the future. For now she was enjoying her life and was greatly looking forward to attending the huge annual Halloween party thrown by Mike Williams, who would be entertaining partygoers with his band Pickaxe Preacher. The party was typically attended by 500 to 1,000 people, and had become a huge social event on the French Township calendar. Chelsea had planned her outfit for the evening. She was going to be the DC supervillain Poison Ivy, complete with an oversized bottle containing wine but labelled poison. She completed the outfit with a black wig covering her blonde hair. On the night of the party, Chelsea attended with her friend Rebecca Brinson. It was said that on the night of the party, the 26th of October 2014, Chelsea was in high spirits, and this apparently contrasted with her normally reserved and quite shy demeanour. This may have been due to adopting an alter ego for the night, or may have been due to alcohol, but there were strongly contrasting reports of how much Chelsea had actually had to drink that night, with some people considering her wasted and others stating that she drank little if any alcohol. She was seen to be in a bad way but not because of drink. Rather, she had fallen and hit her nose on a pole. Now, despite this injury, she was laughing and dancing with friends until, as the revellers began to thin out in numbers, the friends all decided they were ready to leave at around 3 a.m, Chelsea included. At this point, several of her friends offered her a lift home, but Chelsea refused them all. We don't know why. She decided she was going to walk, but she never returned home. The next day, when her parents, Matt and Leandra Bruck, realised she had not returned home the next day, she was reported missing to the Monroe County Police. The entire community, many of whom knew Chelsea or knew her family, rallied around. Flyers were created and thousands were handed out around the town. Within 2 days, it was a major law enforcement operation. Mike Williams was ostensibly the host of the party, but he could not be expected to have monitored the comings and goings of up to 1,000 people, especially as he spent part of the time on stage with his band. Other partygoers were questioned, but with alcohol, drugs and a huge turnover of people across the night, stories were vague and suggested that Chelsea had been seen getting into a car, but there was no information about the vehicle or the driver. The community readily donated to a reward fund, which saw the reward for information increase from $17,000 to $30,000. But as the information went nowhere and time passed, the community embraced a purple ribbon campaign, with the colour purple being Chelsea's favourite, with ribbons being worn in the following months as a constant reminder of Chelsea's unknown whereabouts. As time went on, it was felt throughout the township that Chelsea was unlikely to be found alive, though Chelsea's family held out hope. In an interview in April of 2015, Leandra Bruck said, "Until somebody tells me otherwise, my daughter is out there waiting for someone to help her, and I will not believe otherwise." It was shortly after this, on April the 24th, 2015, that Chelsea's ripped shirt and ripped leggings were found at a construction site. Further searches throughout the site over the following days and weeks eventually led to the discovery of a woman's naked remains being found at the site. By this time, more than 1 million missing persons flyers had been distributed. But Chelsea Bruck had finally been found. The autopsy suggested that Chelsea's death could have been an accident, but there were details found in the initial analysis that weren't quite tracking with that. Blood was found to have been spilled, which would have been odd if there had been any kind of non-invasive choking death. Chelsea was known to have injured her nose at the party, as I mentioned earlier, but the severity of the fractures that the ME, Dr. Lee Lavarty, found were in extreme excess of such an event. And while Chelsea's body was found beneath a log, indicating the body had been deposited by somebody else, and attempted to be disguised. The log could have caused some of the fractures, but unlikely all of them. She ultimately determined, while there was evidence of manual choking, the cause of death was blunt force trauma to the head. Multiple facial fractures and chipped teeth indicate the level of violence that had befallen the young woman. Now, male DNA was found on the leggings that Chelsea had been wearing, but there was no match in the database, and the police were still scratching around for information. When a man from the township was arrested in 2016 for home invasion and sexual assault, he had to submit his DNA for inclusion in the database. As you've probably guessed by now, this sample came back as a positive match to the DNA found on Chelsea's leggings. The police finally had a suspect. 27-year-old Daniel Clay was well known to the police. He had a long history of burglary, illegal entry and drug offences. Significantly, witnesses could place Clay at the Halloween party that Chelsea was last seen alive at. With Clay already in custody for other offences, including non-payment of child support, this is where the magic starts. Clay sees himself as a bit of a stud muffin, and his misogynistic leanings soon become obvious to the police. But the following clips show how Clay's facade was broken down and peeled away, leading to an eventual confession.
I can understand. So maybe, possibly, I understand you're drinking and that, and there's all kinds of people.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, the only girl that really even sticks out to that at that party besides my baby mama was the chick in the Alice in Wonderland costume.
Gotcha.
She was a big, tall chick,
Okay.
though.
I've heard stories. I've heard somebody talk about her before.
Yeah,
We have a photo
Yeah.
of her actually, I think, too.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah.
She's pretty good looking.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
So I have heard
At one point, I literally picked her up on my shoulders and carried her. Then found out she had a boyfriend. I was so pissed.
Yeah, you're not the only one that's
Yeah, it's
mentioned
come up
Alice
before.
in Wonderland.
That's
So-
what bummed me. I'm pretty sure that's why I left. Because I was like, dude, all right, well, fuck it. I've been sitting here flirting with the chick for 30 minutes. She's been flirting with me, doing shots with me, you know, talking to me and stuff, all about me. And then
Was she doing? You were doing shots with her?
Well,
What
she
kind
was
of
she was drinking her own shit. I think she had like, I don't even remember. I know she had something because I remember cheersing her a couple times.
Gotcha.
I seen her that night because I remember talking to Jessica about this. I'm like, yeah, I think I remember who you're talking about, but I don't like.
You never had any contact with her, talked to her.
She was asking people for the phone, to use the phone. Did she ever like ask you to use your cell
I
phone?
didn't
and all
even
that?
know.
Okay.
My phone was dead most.
So
of
if
the
you
night.
would have saw her, it would have been at a distance. Just
Yeah, if I mean, I could have walked right past her for all I know, but it's been what, like almost 2 years.
No, I
now?
understand. But I think you would remember talking to her.
Yeah, I
you
remember
know?
talking to her, but I don't
Right.
talk to her. I just
Okay.
remember the party because, you know, the
Right.
whole thing that happened.
No, I understand.
Everyone remembers
I
right
understand.
there.
I mean, that's my main thing is just, you may have seen her, which is fine. I mean, hundreds of people saw her there.
Yeah.
All right. But if you had contact with her, I need to know.
Yeah. As far as I can
You
remember,
never-
I don't think I even said a word to her. I don't think I remember even getting close to her. I just feel like I remember seeing the Poison Ivy outfit and maybe thinking, oh, well, that's cool or something. Because there wasn't many people in costumes.
So her body, where we found her body, was Briar Hill Road. You familiar with Briar Hill
I know
Road?
that it's near up where Chelsea lives. It's like back a couple miles back or something.
Okay.
That's
You
what
ever
she
been
said.
there?
No. I mean, I might have rode down it like smoking or something, but
Is there any information that you think that would help me?
not really. I mean, I know some of the areas. I was at the party, but I don't remember
What-
I
you were
feel
one
like
of-
I remember seeing the shirt, and I feel like I remember, you know, back then seeing it, and you know, being like, oh, well, I seen her, I think, but that's about it. I was.
Well, I mean,
concerned-
hundreds of people saw her.
Yeah,
you know.
I don't.
But was
I didn't
there
talk
anything
to her. I
suspicious?
don't remember seeing her with anyone specifically or anything like that. I don't remember, you know.
Okay. She was never with you at any
No.
time. You never met her prior to the party?
No. I mean, I could have met her. I could have met her at Olga's.
Okay.
With when I went up there to see Jessica,
All right.
but like I never said anything.
Did you ever
I might have-
date her at all? You guys
No,
ever date?
no.
Ever? I know she was pretty big on Facebook.
No.
Did you ever communicate with
No.
Chelsea on Facebook or text message or
No, because I even thought about it. I was like, no.
any websites at all? I know sometimes she went on like dating websites and would reach out to people.
Meet Me
or-
would be the only one I really use.
Do you remember ever talking to Chelsea on there?
Not
I think she
that
might
I
have
know
had one of those, but
Not that I know of.
So you don't think
I
you
mean, you
ever
can
met
check my Facebook and everything. I'm
Okay.
99.9% certain.
Would there be any reason that your DNA would or on her clothes or
Not
in
to
her
my-
hair
Not to my knowledge.
or anywhere on her body?
No.
Do you understand what DNA is?
Yes, I understand.
What? Tell me what you
Your
think DNA.
blood, everybody's is different.
What about semen?
Everybody's is different.
It's DNA.
Yeah.
Spit.
Yeah.
DNA.
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to make sure you know what
skin cells.
DNA is.
Yeah, I know what
Touch
you're
something.
saying.
So there's
I'm
no-
relatively smart.
It's not just blood. Okay. Well, a lot of people, and I'm
I think it's just
not
blood.
calling you dumb at all.
Yeah.
I just want you to
Yeah, it's
understand
blood,
this.
semen,
Blood,
hair, anything
semen,
that comes
any-
from your body.
Right.
Yes.
Could have DNA in it.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. I just wanted to clear.
Okay.
And there's no reason any DNA of yours should be on her clothes,
No.
in her hair,
No.
or anything like that. Okay. My next question to that, we've asked everybody, okay? Everybody,
Okay.
if they would be willing to consent to a DNA buccal swab.
Yeah.
And
They actually just did one for me like a month and a half ago.
Well, I mean, I don't know where that went.
Okay.
This is specifically for this case.
Yeah, bring it on.
All right. I have reason to believe I have information that you had contact with.
Like
Okay.
at that party or something?
Yes.
Like, I might have seen her. I don't remember.
But when I say, remember I clarified, you might have seen her.
Yeah,
Okay.
I said I might have seen her.
When I say contact, I mean physical contact.
Oh, no.
Okay. What if I told you that your DNA was on her?
I don't know how my DNA got on her.
Okay.
Like, no way, no nothing, no how.
If I told you that her DNA or your DNA was on her? All
Then why
right.
did you just take my DNA again? Then you would have to have my DNA from before, so. But I don't. My
No,
DNA.
and I'm not. Listen,
Yeah, yeah.
listen, Daniel.
Sure.
I am not trying to trick you. I'm looking you straight in
Yeah.
your face. All right. I will actually show you. All right. What I have from the crime lab.
Okay.
All right. And I'm telling you that your DNA is on there.
I have no idea how.
So we need to figure out how it got there.
I have
Right.
no idea.
Nobody can. I mean, that just doesn't show up. Did you? And you're the ladies' man.
Yeah.
If something happens, something happened. Now hear me out.
Okay. Yeah. Well, you guys have been.
Know everything about her, everything. And I know she was promiscuous. I want to know the truth, but I first need to know the truth how your DNA got on.
I have no
Did you
idea.
and her have sex?
No.
All right.
No.
You got to be truthful with.
I did
If
not
you
have
want help
there.
with you, if you want me to help you, all right,
I want
you
you-
got to be 100% truthful with me.
I didn't do anything with her. I would.
more happened that night than you're telling us. We know that. We know that. You know that. Okay. We want to know
I
how
have
things went
no
down.
idea how that got there. I really don't. I'm telling you this. I do not, to my knowledge, remember ever having doing anything with
But you
her.
got. Let me stop you real quick, Daniel. Daniel, look at me. To my knowledge, is not a definite.
Okay, well, like unless I was don't remember,
Right. Well, that could be it.
I don't really get that.
But that's why I asked you, how f***ed up were you?
I was
You know?
okay. I was drunk, but not drunk.
Yeah.
Drunk. I was still. I remember most of the night after
Right.
I left. Like I remember driving home safe. I didn't crash or nothing, so I
Right.
had to be sober enough to do that.
Could you have had sex with her and thought it was somebody else?
Not to my
Is that a
knowledge.
possibility?
Not to my knowledge, unless I was.
Okay.
at-
But is it a
It's a
possibility?
possibility. Yeah, it could have.
Your DNA is on her. Is there a possibility
I mean, there's a possibility
that you had sex with her?
There is a possibility.
Okay. So, but that possibility.
I was f***ed up at that party.
Okay.
I remember getting there, getting f***ed up, being there for a couple hours. I remember getting in that car and leaving.
Listen,
I remember.
do you think that's where that DNA came
I
from?
mean, it could be, but I don't remember like her being in a costume. Like
Okay.
I remember it was just a girl in a t-shirt or something.
Okay.
I just.
Well, you said there was
yeah,
a
I'm saying it
possibility.
could be. I remember everything,
You know?
but she wasn't blonde. She had dark hair. Or
Well, she was
something.
wearing a wig.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay, well, there was a dark-haired chick, but I'm
Well, she-
fairly certain it wasn't her.
See?
And when I left alone. I didn't take her with me or nothing.
I'm just trying to recount.
When you guys first brought me in here and I started thinking about it, like, I don't remember who I had that night. I know I was up and had sex with someone. I've always wondered if it could have been her or not. And then you guys called me in here, freaked me out. I didn't want to say I had sex with somebody and then find out it's her, and then, you know, she disappeared. And I know I left alone. I know I didn't do anything. All I know that I remember how it was is the girl said, "Ooh, you're cute." And I said, "No, you're cute." And she goes really and giggled, and I just grabbed her up, started making out with her. Next thing you know, I'm in my car. I left.
Yeah.
But
after having sex with her,
if that's who I had sex with,
that's who you had sex with. All right. Now, there's no denying it.
Okay.
There's no discounting it. All right. You had sex with the car. Okay. Okay. Where at the party did you see her? Where did she come up and say, "Hey, you're
right by the fire"? I just got done talking to Jessica.
What time was this?
Right before I left, so probably about 9:30 to 10:30. I remember talking to Jessica, and then Tyler was trying to get me to play wingman, and I'm like, "No, dude." So I hurried up and hopped in the car and pulled out, because he seen me literally standing like 5 feet from me and goes, "Dude, you're in a car by yourself. You can't take us home."
Okay.
And I'm like, "No, I'm not taking you and 4 chicks somewhere."
I have a couple issues with that, I guess. Number one, I think you're off on your time frame a little bit too. Okay, I think you were at the party later, and you're saying you were.
It could have been a little later, but I could have sworn it was around dark.
It was later though. 'Cause let me tell you, the crime lab is telling the costume was torn.
Okay, that wasn't by me though.
It was torn off.
That was not by me.
But the thing is both of them.
You said
I left by myself, 100% sure.
We started off on the wrong foot.
I know. I shouldn't have
We
said
really
it. I
did.
said I should have. I didn't think it was her because it was dark hair. I didn't know she had a wig on.
But we started off, and then I got to confront you. You know what I mean? And I don't want to have to do that. This is, I think, you're telling me part of the truth.
I'm telling you the whole truth. Now,
right.
I mean, I was hiding the part earlier.
Listen, I think you and her had sex out on Briar Hill.
No, we did not.
All right.
I would have found
something happened.
Something
happened.
If I was gonna have sex with her somewhere, anywhere, I'd have gone right near there. I would have gone way out to Briar Hill Road.
Yeah, but Daniel, it's not out of the ordinary for you to drive out there because that's where you live.
Yeah, but I wouldn't.
All right.
There's no spots with houses all along that road, and I'd have done it somewhere out by where she was.
That's a nice, quiet place to tuck away at the railroad tracks.
No. Wait, what railroad tracks are you talking about? The ones on the dirt road, right there by the. Yeah. What road are you talking about? I'm talking about the road that's on Telegraph. Is that where she was found?
Hold on a minute. Let me go get a map, and I want to show you exactly.
Okay, because I thought she was found over by that school.
Give me a second. So this is
Briar Hill Road right here.
Yeah, this is Briar Hill.
The school's over
here. This
is
Newburgh, right?
Yep, this is the school.
Okay, see, I've been by Newburgh. That's where I bust my UVs. I don't really come down.
This is Briar Hill. Okay. All right. I want to talk to you.
Okay.
All right. I know we're all getting tired, but I want to talk to you. All right.
Stressing.
So this is the thing, the DNA. Okay. I just went and confirmed. Okay, and I'm telling you exactly. I'm not tricking.
That's fine.
I'm not lying. I'm not saying anything. I did say something where I was wrong. Okay, it was not semen. The DNA. It was skin. All right, from force, from tear. Your DNA cells were on where her crotch was torn and where her top was torn.
Or something.
Okay. So that's where your DNA was. Okay. I'm past that.
Okay.
All right. I know that you tore that.
I didn't tear it.
We're past
pulled
that.
It off or whatever. Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
So, but it was torn. You had to tear it.
I didn't tear it.
But I'm not getting that.
That could have been somebody after me or something.
Okay. So
after you.
This is where it's time. Something happened when you left with her.
I did not
listen. When you left,
did not leave with her.
Either something happened where it was intentional, unintentional, accidental. Now is the time for you to tell us what happened, because are you that monster murderer?
No.
Did you have intention, but it just slipped? It got out of control?
No, I didn't do that to her.
Or was it an accident?
I had sex with a girl, that's it.
But then you have your DNA from where the tears are on her costume. And I'm going to tell you one thing that nobody knows about except us and her mother, is that she had brittle bone disease. Brittle bone disease is a simple
That's- yeah,
touch, a
yeah.
tap,
I
where
break-
breaks.
I break my fingers
Okay.
a lot because of it.
So that's what happened. Okay? An accident happened, and it was an oh shit moment, and it was gone. It was done. And we can't bring it back. We can't bring it back. All we can do is get closure from here and move on. Okay? We're past all that. It wasn't murder. You didn't intend to kill her. You
I
did
didn't
not
do
intend to
anything
kill
to
her. You did not intend to kill her.
Excuse me.
You did not intend to kill her. I am on your side 100% with that,
I get
Daniel.
that.
Look at me. I am on your side with that. We need to know.
I know, but
All right.
I just had.
We need to know. So when your name comes out there and everybody's asking me,
Don't matter anymore.
I don't want people to think you're that murderer, because I know you're not. I know that. I know you're
As soon
not.
as it comes out, my
Daniel.
name, and we're both,
Daniel. This is
That's
it.
not who you are.
This isn't who
I
you
could
are.
tell you. I could tell you right now.
This is not who you are.
Hypothetically, I could tell you that we had and she did get hurt, and I left her out there. I'm still going to jail for the rest of my life.
But you're not that murderer. No, you're
I'm
not.
still going to jail for the rest of my life.
Absolutely.
I didn't do
Look
that.
at me, Daniel.
Yeah.
Look. You never told anybody besides us.
Never.
Did you ever
Anyone.
question you about it? Any friends say, hey, do you have any involvement in this at all?
Like Jessica asked me about it. Like she's like, oh, the girl I worked with, come up missing, and I like had a mini heart attack. But besides that,
But you never told anybody but us.
No.
How did you feel when you see on the news,
Every time I see
her
that, I
being
freaked
missing,
out. That's why
her being found? How did you feel?
The worst was
were you panic a little bit?
I
or-
panicked a lot every time, and then like for the month after it happened, I was really bad. I started getting a little better, and then I went out on a big drug binge,
I'm
tried
gonna
all kinds of
step up.
drugs
Yeah,
and
sure.
stuff, and then come back and yeah.
Good.
She moved underneath me and choked me. I was choking her, and then she went limp. And I know it wasn't that long that I was choking her. Couldn't have been more than 20, 30 seconds, and I wasn't doing it extremely forceful to my knowledge.
Right.
Like, because I've had other girlfriends like to be choked.
No, so then from there you said you I think you said you got kind of freaked out a little bit. Or you
Yeah, and I just started
Did you
driving
hit her
around.
at all?
No. They said they found a split on her lip. I'm thinking that maybe when I threw all the branches on her, or maybe when because I got her out of the car, I could have swore I picked her up and carried her, but I might have dropped her a couple times, because she was, I'm not that big of a beast.
Right. Did you ever push
Didn't
her?
she get into a fight at the party too?
Well, she had walked into a board
Okay.
and she had a little blood. Did okay? So did you ever like push her down to the point where maybe her bone could break or anything like that? And by the way, she did not have brittle bone disease. By the way, somebody
I
said
didn't-
that.
yeah.
It was she had a little bit of a muscle issue,
Oh,
and what
okay.
that was is the muscle issue would just make her tired. Okay, it had nothing to do with her bones or nothing like that. So your bones are very strong.
I might have pushed on her throat that I don't remember. I was f***ed up.
Okay. Now when you say
then
drop her, I mean, did you drop her from how were you carrying her?
Like this, like probably on my shoulder, like
Okay.
this.
So you're what, 6 foot? So we're about the same height. So
Yeah.
maybe you're a little taller than I. But you carried her like this. You didn't carry her like a fireman.
Probably both ways.
Okay. Did you drop her?
Pretty sure.
What did you drop her on?
It'd be because I pulled down the tracks a little bit, so whatever is on that pathway, the back where they found her.
Okay.
Because I was stumbling all around, just trying to find somewhere to put her. Pretty much, like I don't know why I was doing it. I just kept thinking that if I go to take myself to the police department right now, they're gonna just.
Did you drop her on any kind of hard object?
I might have.
Well, I mean, this is what I'm having a problem understanding. Dan, is she has significant injury here, and she's dead. Here, presumably. That's according to you. So how can we explain this? This is not good. I mean, your suggestions, and I understand where you're coming from, but the suggestions of dropping somebody from 3 to 4 feet, the medical examiner, I've already asked him that.
Okay.
I've already asked him that
I figured.
because I asked him because we all know how hard it is to carry dead weight. She's 130 pounds. 130 pounds. And I don't care how strong you are. That's hard, to do. So I could see you dropping, and I asked that question. What would he drop? No. And I said, explain to me how that happens, doctor. And it's like strike with an object. Matter of fact, we talked to the anthropologist. Okay, she's a really, really smart person when it comes to bones.
Sure.
And I asked her, I said, well, could somebody punch her? Because that's what we thought, somebody would punch her. And she said, it'd probably break his fist before it would break these bones. So to give you an idea, probably break your fist. So her thought process was that an object was in the hand. Like a hammer or a tire iron and I'm just throwing the stuff out there. An object would cause that significant break. So the next question to the anthropologist was, how did that happen? And she said, well, you could smash your face into a hard object, a stable hard object, multiple times because there's multiple impacts. Impact.
Okay. I don't know. Like, I don't know if I like snapped and tried hitting her afterwards, trying to wake her up or something. But I don't remember.
I don't. She's owed it.
I really don't. I remember blacking out a lot throughout the night. Like I was up. I remember after I choked her,
but listen,
and she passed out. I couldn't get her back to wake. Like,
but listen.
I remember tapping her on the face and hitting her on the face. I might have hit her hard then. Like to give these up here, but I doubt this down here. I don't think I broke her jaw hitting her like that. I don't remember a good part of the party. Like I don't remember what I was doing there.
Cause of death.
I don't remember
blunt force trauma.
After.
That's the cause of death, Daniel. It's not from her being choked. It's from her being hit in the face with something. So we need an answer. We need closure.
I was choking her. That's when she stopped moving and stuff.
Well, do you know that you can be alive and have real shallow breathing? Do you know she probably died miserably here? Like out in a field somewhere with a couple goddamn logs on her?
She was dead.
How do you know?
It's like there was no breath, no nothing, no pulse, no nothing. I sat there and kept trying to find it forever.
But do you understand what I'm saying? Death was blunt force trauma to the head. That's what they called it.
The 2017 trial saw, predictably, two very different stories of what happened that night. Clay and his defence team maintained that what happened was a terrible accident. In his version of the story, he had just been trying to get her home safely when they decided to have consensual sex, which had become rough by Chelsea's request. And it had ended in tragedy, but it was not intentional. He claimed he cried as he disposed of her body in the woods and felt guilty about what had transpired. But despite this guilt, he did not tell the authorities about what happened. But perhaps more significantly, this account could not explain the extensive injuries that had been uncovered at the autopsy. Chelsea had not been accidentally killed. She had been beaten to death with a high level of violence. Michael Rohrig, prosecuting the case, gave a more compelling account, and a much more likely one given its consistency with the evidence that had been found. He proposed that Clay had seen a woman walking along the road and either offered her a lift that she accepted, or he got her into the car by force. He then raped Chelsea and beat her to death mercilessly. He hid the body and hid his crime. Later admissions sought to take some level of responsibility, but he was attempting to repaint the narrative to reduce his level of culpability. Jessica Priddle, who was one of Chelsea's co-workers, who was at the party that night and who has a child with Clay, said that she remembered Clay coming up to a group that both she and Chelsea Bruck were part of, but she doesn't recall what conversation took place. She said she smoked marijuana with Clay later that night, and that the last time she remembered seeing Chelsea was between 1 and 1:30 a.m. During the months after the party, Priddle said that Clay had never mentioned Chelsea. However, on the day the police arrested Clay, he called her twice while she was at work and left voicemails saying that he was sorry, that he had fucked up big time, and that he was going to be gone for a really long time. At the end of the case, the jury, who, along with the witnesses and compelling circumstantial evidence, We're also shown the full interrogation that we saw some clips of earlier on. The jury duly found Clay guilty of concealing a death and felony murder on May the 16th, 2017, and on July the 13th he was sentenced while Chelsea's family looked on with photos of Chelsea spread around the courtroom on easels, and they spoke about how her beautiful life had been cut short and talked of the impact the murder had had on those who loved her. Remarkably, Chelsea's mother offered Clay forgiveness, drawing on her Catholic faith to extend compassion to the now convicted Clay. She also gifted him a Bible. Clay addressed the court and offered apologies for what had happened. But the judge wasn't having any of his empty rhetoric and bullshit. The judge expressed disbelief that Clay felt any remorse, pointing out the hours of testimony and tapes during the 10-day trial that showed how many times the defendant had changed his story. Before handing down the sentence, he told Clay that it was clear to him that he was a rapist, a liar, and a murderer. The judge sentenced Clay to life without parole for felony murder. He was given an additional concurrent 5-year sentence for concealing the death of an individual. His appeal of the murder conviction was denied in January 2019, and the latter sentence for disposing of the body was discharged in July 2021 as time served. The murder of Chelsea wasn't Clay's only offence. Remember the robbery and sexual assault that initially exposed his connection to Chelsea's murder? The DNA submitted in the case ended up being a match for that found on Chelsea's clothing. Well, during that offence, he had entered another woman's home in Monroe, Michigan on June the 9th, 2016 and had sexually assaulted her. Police charged Clay with first-degree home invasion and first-degree criminal sexual conduct. On August the 29th, 2019, Clay received an additional sentence of 39 months in prison for that crime. He is serving his sentences at Kinross Correctional Facility in Michigan. So here ends the elongated saga of a girl whose night to remember became a night to forget. But the community did not forget Chelsea, and the case never went cold despite periods of little progress. The commitment to the cause finally paid dividends and led to a fantastic interrogation that peeled Clay and his story apart like an onion. The evidence on Chelsea's body told its own story, a story of extreme physical and sexual violence that could not have been accidental. From the moment his DNA was uploaded and matched to that found on Chelsea's leggings, he was fucked. It was a hideous crime, but seeing Clay's stories get pulled down and the evidence show him to be the violent arsehole he was does actually make me do a little happy dance and gives me a warm and fuzzy feeling in my tum-tum. I just hope he has necrosis of his extremities and rots in misery. Conversely, I hope the Bruck family have found ways to cope with their enormous loss. This video is of course dedicated to Chelsea, whose journey through an independent life was just starting. But the way her disappearance was embraced by the entire community was somewhat comforting. I send nothing but good wishes and compassion to the family and friends of this beautiful young lady. Thank you for watching another episode of Murder of Crows. I'm Steve. I'm going up a mountain for a rock festival in a couple of days. This is Samson. He's not going up a mountain to a rock festival, but we will see you when we see you.